Look at this row of terraces here, which was developed in the late 19th century. This one here, which is now the community centre, is a former merchant's house. This whole row here of these 5 houses are listed buildings with various architectural features, which I could probably go in some depth. I have them all written down here if anybody is a real architecture buff and wants to have a look through those. This terrace has always been, in the past anyway, professional people. There was a well-known dentist had a practice further down on this side, Mr. Baker, who was also nicknamed the Butcher because he really didn't have a very good manner, professional manner with children, and often they'd flee from the place in tears, which is pretty sad, isn't it, really? And hopefully things have improved from that. So we had a little brief look at this, and you can always pop inside if you want to, because it's a very active local community college running a number of courses, such as this particular thing that I'm doing at the moment. You can pop in for a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. So what we'll do now, as we are constrained a bit by time, we'll pop over now to the building over the road there, the rusty appearing building, which is does it get used much, this gym? That's good, isn't it? Excellent.
All the kids use it.
That's great. It's a great facility, isn't it? Excellent. So, as you can see, this is constructed of a mesh type steel.
That's the hot. The calorie structure.
Excellent. A mesh type steel, and we'll pop inside and have a look. Originally, this was conceived as a sort of vertical garden by a firm of architects whose name unfortunately eludes me at the moment. It'll probably pop out later on from the deep recesses of my subconscious mind. And you can see there is some greenery here. Maybe later on in the year there might be some more things hanging here. I don't know really. But I know this was developed with the local community, and it's called the Folly locally, I believe. It was developed as part of the Year of Culture in 2008 with 2 other pavilions or similar constructions. One was in Edge Hill, and I think the other one was in Wavertree. At the same time as the architects worked on this particular construction with the local community, they also developed the garden area to the rear of the rotunda there, I believe. Originally that was supposed to be like barcode strips of garden to be maintained by the local residents. It was called like the barcode garden. The idea that local residents would take care of their particular strip. So what do people think about this? Do you like it here, Cody, this particular construction?
It's fun, like when kids are playing.
Yeah?
I film you saying that.
Do your kids play
Do you
in
like
here
it
much?
here?
Yeah.
What sort of games do you play in here?
We play house and that.
House? Like a den?
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, I could see it could be that. Yeah. It's a shame maybe perhaps it doesn't have some sort of little roof thing that you can
Yeah, or lights.
pull up. Lights, yeah, could be
Fairy
nice.
lights would be
Yeah.
nice, wouldn't
I mean
it?
today you could probably get solar lights for
Definitely should
it
solve the problem of the
and
fog.
install them up there, couldn't you?
And there's all cameras up there.
Is there?
Look.
Oh, there is, yeah, I never noticed that.
Are they cameras or are
Yeah,
they lights?
they're cameras and lights.
Where? Is that so they can spy on you?
That's the camera.
Okay. I just mentioned very briefly that the building over there, which is now being converted into flats, was the former British American tobacco cigarette manufacturing plant. I think the tobacco came in on barges from the Stanley Dock warehouse along the canal. That's what I suspect. They were mainly female workforce, and they used to get 50 cigarettes, Athol brand, which I noticed is a local name. You've got the Athol pub, I think there was formerly the Athol Vault, Athol Street. It sounds like an Irish name to me.
Isn't
it a Duke of Athol?
I did know the
Yeah,
Duke.
yeah.
Is it the same spelling?
Yeah. So that's been converted since. I've actually been in and had a look at those flats. They're nice flats, quite nice flats. They were quite reasonable flats, and they'd be probably 4 or 5 times the price that they were.
So is that
In
the
London.
actual factory?
That was the
Is that the same
factory.
building?
Yeah,
Just
over there, yeah.
That was the BA, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The BN.
Yeah, largely female workforce, and it closed in the 1980s. I think it was about 1984, despite much protests in Parliament by local MPs. Yeah,
To try and keep it open.
by like Bob Parry, who was a well-known local MP, and various other people. But I think it had been taken over the company by a large insurance company, I think to do with cigarette manufacturing, and I think the financial repercussions of that led to its closure. That's all I can say about that at the moment.
Thanks, John.
There was a pub there called the Rotunda Pub, Rotunda Hotel, and eventually that developed into the Rotunda Theatre, which was a very large theatre. It could hold about 3,000 people. It had 2 billiard halls and a number of bars, and it was quite a famous place in this area at that time. It was created around about 1963, developed around about 1963. Very large place. I have a programme here for it, somewhere when I can find it, if anybody wants to have a look at it. Because the adverts...
programme.
Yeah, the adverts might interest you particularly. And there's a picture of the rotunda on the front of it. It's only a little tiny picture. There's another one here.
Oh, that's nice.
Do you want anybody want to have a look through the programme and the ads?
Yeah.
Can I hold up that, please?
They have a bowling alley in there, because I think they did.
Not a bowling alley as far as I know. There were billiard rooms on the first floor, games rooms in the
How
basement, and a hotel at the southern end.
That was there. That building was
In
there.
1875, the whole roof, it had a mansard
on that
roof,
grass.
like some of the buildings in town, lead. The roof was
Oh, you
removed
say
and
hi,
rebuilt. And only 2 years later, a big fire occurred which burnt it down. Incidentally, I forgot to mention in the grand opening, which was accompanied by a big fireworks display and a magnesium balloon taken off. So it must have been quite a dramatic night here for the local community. And the community that went there is something that interests me. I think, well, thanks very much. I think, well, like, over that area, from what I can gather, there was still quite a few well-to-do people around this area, from what I know. It seems to have been more of a working class area, and I do wonder how these two people intermingled there. You know, whether whether the wealthy people got off with the ladies of the night, or
I bet you.
any romances took place.
Well, you know, you've heard it, Laura. A woman came on the group, didn't she? And her mother met her father in there. Do you remember?
Yeah,
right?
she told us, yeah.
And the reason why she made a beeline for him was he had a top hat on, and she thought because he had a top hat on, he had money.
Yeah.
That's a good ruse, isn't it?
Eventually, it was destroyed during the Second World War. It continued right through the 20s and 30s, but eventually destroyed by enemy bombing during the war in September 1941. And there's a picture of it there. Yeah.
Oh wow.
There is a falling down. So that building, Corey, was on that land then.
Just there, Corey.
I feel.
Yeah.
Big theatre, 3,000 people all going in,
3,000
getting
people.
bevies.
It was massive and it looked like that. So to imagine that on the corner there.
You might see that one a bit
Oh, that's
better.
better, yeah, it's
Yeah.
bigger. It's massive, isn't it?
Pike Road. People had to pay to use this road when they were trying to get away from the city. At that time, there was another
pay to
turnpike
get out.
road as well. That's it. Yeah. It was created by an Act of Parliament in 1771, the Turnpike Road, and at that time there was very little development in this area. The development only stretched as far as Dryden Street. That's where the houses ended at Dryden Street. So, as I say, that's just a brief look at the origins of Scotland Road. Where it met Kirkdale Road, it was called St Anthony's Place or Mile End, as it was exactly 1 mile from the Liverpool Exchange, which was a main centre of commerce. Now, one little interesting thing there was that people used to come for miles around to that particular area, up by St Anthony's as it is now, to see the views, from Somerset and all around that area. There were gardens in that particular area, and while they were doing that, they probably enjoyed the the famous meat pies from Kitty's Pie Shop, which was an extremely famous place here in the 18th century. She sold them from Mile End House. Okay, I think I'm 90% certain now. Just by that sign there was one of the most famous daughters of Liverpool was born. Yeah. Who do you think it might be, Corey?
Who is it, Corey?
I don't know.
Think of Scylla.
Cilla Black.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what her real name was, Corey? Priscilla Veronica White. Apparently, she got that name through a misprint.
It's like on the canal she built a bridge.
She opened one of the bridges
Did
in
she?
the Eldonians.
Oh, that's good, isn't it? That's good. So she didn't forget the place, did she? In fact, one of the stories I can tell you about it is that around about 2011 she was making a cookery programme. And you know the butcher's over there? She went into there and bought some offal. Apparently she was a big fan of offal. She considered it to be awfully nice. So she was born here in the late 1940s, and she regarded Scotland Road, shortly after she became famous, she said Scotland Road was a fabulous area. She regarded it as then. Shortly after the release of her first single, Love of the Loved, which I think seems to be forgotten very much, that single. People everybody seems to think.
Sing it.
It's a long road with a pub in every corner, she said. Sadly, it's not that way now. You know. Yeah. And Mum used to shop there as well, and the butcher's just over there. Tramp Nose Butcher, apparently it was called.
What was the mum name?
Her mum? I don't know, unfortunately, just says her mum. Could have been, yeah.
Or am I making that up?
Yeah. Anyway, Scylla went on to have many successful hits, really. Starting with anyone who has a heart, Burt Bacharach song that was covered by Dionne Warwick originally in America, and that was found for her by her manager Brian Epstein, who she'd been introduced to by John Lennon. Apparently, she failed her first audition, which was at the Majestic Ballroom in Birkenhead, because she couldn't really sing properly at that time because the Beatles were playing in the wrong key to what she was singing, and so it all sounded a bit discordant. But later on, Brian Epstein seen her again at the Blue Angel Club, which was another famous club at that time, along with many more like the Iron Door, etc. Was it? Yeah, I'm sure it's still there. Yeah. And there she was singing Bye Bye Blackbird, which is like a jazz song, but he was very impressed with the delivery of that. And it wasn't very long before she was signed to Parlophone Records and began her illustrious career. Later going on to have many hits, 17 consecutive top 40 record shelves. I never realised as many we sold to did recently. 17, and that was at a time when you had to sell 100,000 records a day to get into the top 20. Just to get, a day, 100,000 a day to get 100,000 a day to get into the top 20. Yeah, so she obviously sold a lot of records. Was very popular. Later on, she went on to present various television programmes in addition to her pop career. And concerts and pantomime appearances. One of the last things that she did in Liverpool was she appeared as the fairy godmother in Cinderella on the Empire in 2008, the year of the capital of culture. But she never, it seems, forgot the place. Anyway, she died in August 2015 at her home in Spain. 2015. During her life, she'd got a BAFTA for a television work, and she'd also received the OBE from the Queen for her work for the entertainment industry. And I think we've probably said enough about Scylla for now. All due respect to her.
Yeah.
But there's been lots and lots of other great